Hi there. My name is Kay Moon, and I'm a twin flame channel and Western astrologer. And this is a full moon in Leo taking place on January 25th, 12:53 p.m. If you happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States, please check a time zone converter for your local time. Super pumped to be at another lunar update with you guys. Before we dive in, I want to let you know the February calendar is open. If you'd like to book a Valentine's Day reading, look at love for the new year, especially since the best dates and timings for love are going to be happening before June this year. If you want to know what those are for you in your chart, now's the time to book. And for those of you on a divine counterpart journey, the extension of this union window energy has been creating a lot of breakthroughs and surprises in love in the best of ways. So if you'd like to look at your chart for your access to union and then in this new 7-year cycle that just began, now is a great time to dive in. You can find me over at kmoonastro.com. Secondly, I have a question for you. Timestamps. When I put them below the video, do y'all use them? Do you watch both videos at the same time or separately? Do you pause a video and then come back to it at a different time? Let me know in the comments. The last time I asked, several people commented, oh, they're nice to have. They didn't say if they actually used them or not. I'm very curious. Do you use them? Yes or no? Mainly because I'm thinking of switching up the format of how I do what I do. And I'm just not sure if y'all watch the videos all in one go or if you take breaks and come back. Let me know how you take in the content in a comment. I'd really appreciate that. Let's talk about our full moon in Leo. If you're new here, welcome. This is a part 2 to the Lightworker Energy Update that was published right alongside this and is in the main trailer to this YouTube channel. So definitely have a listen to that first, because at the start of that energy update, I talked about how the energy of this full moon ties into Pluto's new movement into Aquarius, which just happened. It's going to be a new 20-year cycle of Pluto in Aquarius, and how monumental and consequential this period of time is in our lives. I also did a deep dive on the full moon themes, which I'll cover in brief here. Um, Cholo, if you're new, I'm so glad you stopped by. Definitely have a listen to that Lightworker energy update first to get the full picture of why the energy for divine counterparts will be interpreted the way I'm interpreting it. And then come back and listen to this part 2 after that. Now, as a summary, the full moon in Leo aspects feature a fixed grand cross. That includes a square to Jupiter in Taurus here, a square to Haumea here in Scorpio, creation goddess in Scorpio, kind of oxymoronic that, and in opposition to Pluto here in Aquarius. This is an invitation into sovereignty for all of us, since Leo is the sign that represents self-sovereignty and creativity. And it's working almost as this kind of drum roll or crescendo into the next lunation's heightened intensity. This has a bit of a last call vibe to it in the way that it demands our evolution and our willingness to step up when it comes to taking control and power back in our lives. Again, way more detail in the Lightworker energy update, including some significant love energy that pertains to the entire collective, not just divine counterparts. But this is the gist. Now, when it comes to divine counterparts, let's start with Juno, the energy that I read as divine feminine. Here she is in Virgo, and she is retrograde. And this has brought up some very interesting energy. I did a full breakdown of Juno retrograde and how that can impact divine counterparts in the last lunar update, whether you're in separation, some form of union, semi communication, no communication. I detailed all of that, timestamps below that video. You'll see it in the title card, Juno retrograde for twin flames. But there's something unique I'm noticing. I noticed it then, but it's picking up speed and momentum now to the way this Juno retrograde is playing out for a lot of people. I've been getting more and more sessions with clients, emails, and comments about Juno retrograde bringing counterparts back together, moving those who were in separation or who identified their connection into their next steps in some format of union, whether that's back in communication, moving in together, even marriage in some cases. In particular, those who met during the last union window of 2014 to 2015. I'm seeing that group in particular experience a lot of movement at this time. Now, let me be clear before, some of y'all do weird things in your brain because I've seen y'all do this and just don't do it. This doesn't mean it's an absolute rule or only people from that time period are coming into union, that you won't come into union if your person and you aren't talking while this doesn't mean any of this. So don't take it and make meaning out of what I just said or judge yourself if you're not experiencing movement. It's just a wave of energy that is available to take advantage of if you want to channel movement in your connection. And it seems particularly accessible to that group of people at this time. That doesn't mean it's not accessible to you too. Okay. So if you're new, a quick recap. A union window is the year before and after the divine counterparts, Juno and her husband Jupiter in the mythology meet up in the sky. They do it once every 6 to 8 years, 7 on average. The next time they meet up will be in 2028 in November. The last time they met up was January of 2023, facilitating gigantic pull and divine connections all of 2022, all of 2023. This energy was meant to close out this January of 2024. However, it extends due to Juno's retrograde in an earth sign, Virgo, harmonizing with Jupiter's stay in fellow earth sign, Taurus. When the counterparts are in the same sign, the pull is irrepressible. It is unignorable. When they are in the same element, not the same sign, it's loud and magnetic as well. And because we're talking earth signs here, this is about making the immaterial material between the counterparts. So moving from just spiritual union into the format of physical union. That energy is very accessible right now. Juno here at the 19th degree of Virgo is receiving a lot of interesting, fun contact. She's got this trine to Uranus, the original divine counterpart here, divine counterpart of Gaia, first one, in Taurus. She's also got this trine to Mars and Mercury here in Capricorn, which is opening up communication for her, where communication may have been at stuck or at a standstill. It's going to open up here. We've got a sextile from Pallas and Scorpio. Here's Pallas, all about that protection of what we love and our resources there in Scorpio. And we've got a square from Ceres and Sagittarius here. Ceres being all about that seasonality. And we've got an opposition to Neptune and Pisces here. This Juno's retrograde, very loose, grand Earth trine with Uranus and Mars and Mercury, very loose, grand Earth trine here, with that includes the divine feminine energy, is all about taking decisive action and quick thinking when together, quick movement when they're also influenced by Uranus as they are, and is having romantic connections from the past because she is reviewing, she is retrograding, come rapidly into form in the present. That's Uranus wanting to go to the next level for those who are ready. Very thrilling. We have Neptune here, unfolding intuition. The series is really only helping. demarcate the end of one season, the beginning of a next, and Palace and sextile here is allowing us to conquer fear and really step into our true power. Now, it's totally okay if you are not sure what to do in this energy. If you're like, but Moon, nothing's happening and I don't know what to do and I feel like I'm holding my breath. A lot of people are. I've spent a lot of time in sessions this week looking at people's individual charts, hearing their story about their connection and where things last landed, and providing some insight. Okay, here's what you can do according to your chart to give yourself movement in connection. Okay. Your astrology in your personal chart will make that plain for us when we look at it together. All of us have an access point to union in this new 7-year cycle that just started, and your chart will illuminate what that access point is for you. Now, if you'd like me to break that down for you, then let's have a look at it together in February, since this union energy extends all the way through the end of Juno retrograde in April. So we've got all of January, all of February, all of March, and April. Union window energy extends into that period of time. But the sooner you start reprogramming the energy in your connection and recalibrating the frequency at which you personally are vibrating, the faster things can change given how fast moving this energy is. So you can book your session over at kmoonastro.com now. Link is right below this video, and we're going to talk about it together very soon for you. Now, for those of you in some format of what you might call a traditional third dimensional union already, you're co-parenting or you live together, you got kids, or maybe you're working together in a business. I'll never forget the day there was a woman who came in. She was like, so my twin and I started a company together. We're co-founders, but we're not in union. I was like, girl, both your names are on that paper. The two of you are about as in union as union can get. You better stop identifying as in separation so things can actually progress. Things will become what you call them. Be clear about that, you guys. So for those in some who can identify some format of union already in your connection, some level of specifically traditional union, like maybe there's titles or labels or I don't know, whatever is traditional for you, right? You're going to find in this energy that the two of you are starting to think big picture about your next steps, what can happen together, where you want life to go. You're making changes, you're implementing those changes. Some of these things likely have to do with money and the reorganization of money for the rebalancing of your connection and your connection's ability to bring love and spread love to the people who matter in your lives. There's a significant call into leadership for those of you who are in that level of connection already to really take your attention beyond the connection and place it on how you can be of service to the world. You don't have to be doing something together. There are many divine counterparts who, from a mission perspective, enhance each other's ability to be light force warriors out here in the world. Rather than needing to do it together, they enhance each other's ability to do it on their own. You and your counterpart might actually be that. The best way for me to know that is by looking at your charts in a couples reading where both of you show up together, but where you're very clear already, we kind of know what we're doing. This is a time of deeper planning strategy, and for many of you, execution, where things may have been unclear in the connection or how you could move forward just 15, 21 days ago. There's energy here for now making decisions together about your next steps for the health of the connection. Okay. For those of you who are not in some traditional union, but you identify as in some level of union, whether that's spiritual union or there's communication going on, maybe no labels, but there's an understanding between you and your person. You guys are going to start to see some refinement coming into your connection and into your understanding of where things have to go from here in order for the union to anchor and land, and in order for each of you to be sovereign. That's this full moon in Leo, all about sovereignty, sovereign together, whether that's cleaning up finances, switching gears on job, dealing with some health issues that have been persistent or plaguing. Juno is definitely sitting there in Virgo, right? These kind of connections really require that we come into them from a place of strength. You don't have to be perfect. That's not what I'm saying. But being accountable and being prepared to be whole, or at least moving your ship in the direction of wholeness, is some of the prerequisite here. So for those of you who see kind of union on the horizon in some format in the third dimension, this is when your intuitive instructions will appear that will tell you, all right, your next steps for union are this, and this. Get to it. Make sure that you're taking good notes for some of you because Neptune is involved. It's going to come through the dream state in your divine feminine energy, in your claircognizance as well, with Uranus involved, just passing thoughts while you're on the treadmill or driving, doing the dishes. Make sure you're taking notes on what you're getting as downloads, is what your union is needing from you in order to support you in stepping into your leadership in the world and to support its anchoring here in the third dimension. There's actions to be taken. Pay attention. Now, for those of you who are in some level of what you would identify as complete separation, there's no communication, there's no energy movement back and forth, there's just nothing that you can identify. For those of you who identify in some sort of full on separation, which, the longer I do this, the clearer I am that is just a myth. There's no such thing as separation, not in these kinds of connections, because the only way you can identify separation at all is because union is already existing in the connection. It's the only way you can even experience the construct of separation is because union is already there. So it's about, again, call it what you want it to be. Stop agreeing with separation. But if you want to continue to agree with separation, here's what I got for you. For you, you're going to find that this particular lunation is very confronting in the way that it's going to stretch your idea and your identity, either as a divine counterpart or as a twin or as a soulmate or whatever label you want to put on stuff. You're going to find if you've got an attachment to the identity of being in separation, right? You're looking at the third dimension and there's absolute denial of everything that's already always going on in the spiritual and eternal dimensions, which is the only thing that's real to begin with. If you're in denial and repression of that, this particular full moon in Leo is going to be confronting because it is so concrete for the divine feminine energy. It is so third dimensional for her that if there's absolute denial of everything going on in the spiritual, you're going to find that that gets enhanced here. You're going to feel separation almost in some ways deepen unless you can start to find your access to union energy. This particular lunation is really challenging all of us in our sovereignty to take a good look. What is the truth here? Again, I just gave it to you. Cliff notes. Let me run it back. There is no such thing as separation in these kinds of connections. You could only call a thing separation if union is already in existence, if it is already the truth. You would never mind. I could go on, but I think y'all get it. Okay, now moving on. Let's have a look at our divine masculine energy. K Moon, come off the soapbox and keep it moving, girl. Here's Jupiter over here, our divine masculine energy hanging out in the very feminine sign of Taurus, the 6th degree. He is playing a major role in this new moon as part of the fixed grand cross. Recall, we have creation goddess, we've got Pluto and the sun speaking to this particular full moon. Okay. As a key player, this means this lunation will be significant for our divine masculine energies personally. Now, in channeled messages I've received for this year so far, I saw that this year will force a lot of those who have been running heavy masculine energy exclusively, regardless of your gender, to have to integrate more of their own feminine energy, their vulnerability, um, their flexibility, their feminine, softer side. This lunation and the next several lunations, while Jupiter is in Taurus, the first feminine sign of the zodiac, and the time period while Chiron is in the first masculine sign of the zodiac, will facilitate the beginning of some of this larger surrender and softening process. It will start with opening up with the feelings and thoughts about the self. These feelings may not have surfaced yet, as this lunation is more situational and third dimensional. But once the dust settles, as we get into late February and into late March, there will be more of an interior reckoning that will lead to an opportunity for integration and rebalancing internal masculine and feminine energies. So, if you or your counterpart are specifically running majority divine masculine energy in your live stream, it's fine. It happens. You know, we all go through periods where sometimes we're running more feminine energy, sometimes we're running more masculine energy. It all depends on what lessons you're learning or what leadership you're providing. We can flip flop and go back and forth, right? We're never static as beings. We are whole, masculine and feminine internally. So keep that in mind. But if you or your counterpart have been specifically running majority divine masculine energy in your live stream, have a listen to the Lightworker Energy Update, as it will go into great detail about the process you'll notice unfolding at this time in the third dimension and how it pertains to your next steps spiritually, but also pragmatically as well. Additional aspects to the divine masculine energy, in addition to Pluto, Sun, Cheroklo, and the Moon, include a sextile from Saturn, influencing our divine masculine energy, and a trine from Venus here, influencing our divine masculine energy, and an opposition from Makemake here in Libra. Okay. This combination, along with the other aspects playing into the new moon itself, like I said, Pluto, Cheroklo, creation goddess, they're all telling a story about needing to focus on what we love. That's Venus here. Make it concrete, make it real, follow through. That's Capricorn. And Saturn, Capricorn, Saturn wants concreteness. Commit to it spiritually. That's Saturn in Pisces. And follow through with execution and put away things that compromise wholeness. Okay. Put away everything that compromises your wholeness. Sovereignty, creativity, and valuing ourselves and our future is the name of the game here. And it's these energies, Saturn, Venus, Shaman's asteroid, all acting on our divine masculine energy, is bringing forward an ability to value ourselves enough to stay committed and follow through. So it's a supremely evolutionary energy, which is tremendously beneficial for positioning us well for our next chapter in love, our next chapter in money, health, career, all the things. Again, a little nudge, a little poke to those of you who insist that separation is your story. Consider that some of this energy is about preparation, not separation, so that you can get on board with taking the steps that need to happen so that you're ready at the appropriate time for you. Yeah. Consider that that's also, if you really want to be identified with separation, consider that's also what your counterpart's doing. Yeah. Mostly because the process unfolding is such an inside job that when we change at the level of our internal divine masculine energy is being forced to change here, there can be no going back. Once our identity changes and our life changes, again, Taurus, self-worth, self-esteem, Chiron, first masculine sign of the zodiac, all about selfhood and identity. Um, Once our identity changes, our life changes permanently. It has to. And what we're all getting in our divine masculine energy at this time is an identity shift, an identity change, completely new access to new places, new situations, new money, new health outcomes, new homes, new job opportunities, new business opportunities, because you are being made new in this energy. So keep that in mind that this is a time of preparation for many and third dimensional transformation because there's so much heavy earth energy at this lunation. Okay. Now, for those of you who identify your connection in some level of third dimensional union, in your divine masculine energy, you may find that in the connection, in your communication, there's some level of like trimming of the fat that the two of you are doing. There's a laser like getting focused. All right, here's everything we want to do, but given our resources, here's what we can do and what we can commit to. Here's everything we would like to experience in the third dimension or what we would like to commit to, pie in the sky. However, given where my energy is at, your health is at, here's what it is we need to be considerate of so that we're capable of following through on our commitments. Trimming the fat, meaning we're being financially focused, time-wise focused, emotionally focused in terms of where we're putting our energy at and our time this year. So there's a lot of, like I said, New Year's resolution type energy, strategy, and planning. So this at the last lunar update that extends well into the tail end of this month because of the way our planning and organizer, Mercury is speaking with Mars and Earth sign, having that conversation with Juno, soon to be Mars is having an executionary conversation with Jupiter, meaning wanting to take action. So, really good stuff in our divine masculine energy fields. There's a sense of like no hesitation, like just taking bull by the horns and doing what you must do. Now, for those of you who identify in some format of union, whether it's spiritual or communication, or you run a business, you co parent, blah, blah, blah together, you can see that there's union unfolding for you. What you will understand and begin to see at this particular lunation is that there's movement and a lot of movement. Some of it may keep you and your counterpart from playing and having fun together. Some of it may allow things to get deeper together, just depending upon how much preparation needs to get done in your life for union to cascade in a concrete way. Some of you have a lot you still need to do. Taurus, finances, um, Capricorn here, business, Virgo here, details, bills, health, and well being. Some of you still have some organizing to do. And so this lunation will call you to do that. Others of you, like I said, you're good to go. So you're just going to see things begin to deepen at this point in time between you and your counterpart. Now, again, for those of you who, just really like the label called separation, and you want to hang out there, you may find at this time in your own divine masculine energy that there's just like no thoughts about your counterpart, that there isn't anything going on between there's like the quiet has moved to stillness, and the stillness has moved to almost even an absence of some of the spiritual energy in the connection. Some of you may find that that's what you're experiencing now, and that's fine too. All cycles and seasons, lessons in every single one of them, growth opportunities and all. But for you, if that's the case, this kind of freedom of energy that you might be experiencing that you don't get at other times will allow you to pick up some momentum and speed in carving out a life that is truly representative of who you are as you have and whom you've become. Okay. For all counterparts, this lunation can bring about deeper union with another through deeper union with yourself and honoring your journey and changes at this time. It is an exciting time. This and the next several lunations through Gemini season will constitute some of the best energy for love that we'll have all year. That's late June, in case you didn't know. So if you're not sure what to do or where to focus, or if you should reach out to the person or not, or if you're supposed to wait, or how to change the frequency in your connection. I'll never forget this week. I was walking someone through it in her chart. She was explaining the lack of communication between her and her person, and how, she had extended an olive branch, but the person didn't respond, left her on red. And I was explaining, okay, so here's the access point to union, and here's what you do to reprogram the energy. Here's what you work on so that things shift. And at the very end of the conversation, she was like, oh, so it's a waiting game. I just have to wait for him to call me then. I said, boo, were you listening to anything I just said? It is not a waiting game. It is a doing game. Here's the assignment checklist 1, 2, 3. Go get it. Recalibrate this connection so that things feel different to him vibrationally. And you can have that door open because you know he always comes back. That's his pattern. He never leaves you alone. Recalibrate this energy. The faster you recalibrate it, the faster you see movement. She was like, oh, you're right. I did want to make it for me to do nothing. It's like, yeah, see how tricky the mind is? You want to get out of your own mind tricks here. Let's talk about it. Have a look at your chart, see what you can do to recalibrate things in your own connection. And if you're already in some format of companionship with your counterpart, you'd like to look at your year ahead together, your mission work together, that's in your composite chart. If you'd like to have a look at your, individual pathways and how you can support one another this year, book a couples reading. They're over on my site under relationship readings. 90 minutes for 2 people who want to come together. Otherwise, personal readings is all I have available at this time. Okay. kmoonastro.com. I'm so excited about all of this. I love seeing and hearing your updates in the comments and how this energy is changing stuff for you and your connection as well. So feel free to drop a line and encourage others with your transformations and leaps forward. It helps us all to know what's possible and to stay inspired in this energy. Thank you, as always, for liking the video, for the algorithm, for sharing and subscribing. All of that helps the content to get to the people who need encouragement and guidance at the time they need it most. Take great care and bye for now.